corresponding area to the name of the animal, and it is the meat. So according to that model, I can say unique area. Okay. For hummus, it's a decoction of. Okay, I have many words for deduction of something. Elemento is something that is, so I can say elemento, that is the word for good, etc. So, I hope you are not some difficult cases, vanilla. Okay, where does it come? We have to go through the etymology. We come from a Latin word which means sheep. From there, we go to Spanish vaina, and its diminutive vainilla. So I can, so vainilla describes the small parts of the plant. Hence, I can say lobos, which is a tested part, and I create the word lobion, small part, that will fit for vanilla, respecting the same itinerary. Here you have the parts of the vanilla. Okay. The goal would be to find an elegant solution. We were trying to translate the first chapter of the Petit Prince into ancient Greek. We have two difficulties, golf and bridge. For golf, it's not okay. It's a game, a ball game, Chinese most, that comes from Scotland. So, Kokaledodikos, the Scottish ball game. And for bridge, well, we translated different. Well, we could do the same thing with the morphology and syntax. We are not going to go on with that. What's important also is to find the correct phrases, to be faithful to Greek expression. Like, for instance, getting out of the water. You don't say, I get out from the water, except for I, creators. But in all the text, you have anabaino, the two creators. I go up from the water. To get into the water would be I descend into the water. To say, for instance, well, instead of translating paradei patoscarium, exempli gratia, which is very attested, we have many other ways in ancient Greek to say it. This takes time. If I translate literally, tuto chronon lambane, I am not speaking ancient Greek. I am speaking something which is a German. What ancient Greek people would say, and what is attested in the text, is tutus chron deitai dis request time, tutus choles deitai dis request leisure. Well, the same thing would apply to the Proverbs and to all the rest of the language. I would finish with the sense of humor. We can also retrieve Greek sense of humor. Okay, we have text, which is the Philogelos, which is a collection of jokes, which is 1,600 years old. And there we have the following joke that I'm going to translate. So there are a whole series of jokes about academics, okay? Because they were supposed to be completely in the moon, completely in another world. So here we have a joke about an academicos, scholasticos, sorry, so an academic. And so there was a scholar who had sold a slave to another scholar. And that slave, after 2 weeks, once he was sold, after 2 weeks, he died. So the other scholar was extremely angry against the one who had sold him that slave. And he goes and meets him and he tells him, hey, the slave you sold me, he has died. And the other one replied, well, believe me, when he was in my house, he never did such a thing. You're laughing 1,600 years afterwards. Thank you so much.
what learning at Polis is, what making the learning of an ancient languages of an ancient language entails, and something that our graduates have been doing for the past 2 years in different languages, some of them in ancient Greek, some of them with other languages that we offer, and that most of them have been actually mentioned. So thank you so much. Right now, we would like to give the opportunity to one of our teachers to say his speech for our graduate students. So I'd like to call Zachary for the speech. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you on finishing your degrees here. I know that Teresa already said this, but it is very impressive that you are able to do this in the midst of a war. In addition to learning however many languages that you're learning, have all this other stuff going on. And for those of us who live here in Israel, it's also impressive that people who don't live in Israel would come here and stay here for this amount of time just to be able to learn languages, ancient and modern. It's very impressive. So I was asked to do this. However, it's a bit weird because while I do teach ancient Greek, I'm also technically still a student in Polis. I'm in the teacher training program. And so just to give you an idea of how this works. So take, for example, last semester. I was in Ancient Greek 5, which is taught by Tatiana, who's over there. Now, I was in Ancient Greek 5 with Lelio, Fena, and Abed, who are right here, okay? The same days that I would teach, that I would learn in Ancient Greek 5, what then happened is that I would go to Greek lunches, which are sometimes taught by Lelio, where I would be studying with and then I would run and prepare to teach Ancient Greek 1, where Aviva, in my class Persephone, is my student. Okay? And I'm correct in saying that, Abel, you also teach biblical Hebrew lunches, right? I did, yes. You did? Okay. Is everybody following the web here? This will be a test afterward. So you can identify this. So this really is what makes Polis an extremely special place, which is that not only do the teachers teach, but the students end up teaching each other. And I can tell you, because I get to work in the teacher office now, and I get to hear teacher gossip, I can also tell you that teacher gossip at Polis is extremely boring because all the students are so good. It's just all these good things that everybody has to say about all the students. And it ends up being just praise all the time. So I can say, for example, that Ahmed here loves studying Arabic so much that he would ask to get into courses that didn't even exist yet. It's so hard to get into more Arabic courses. I know that Jonathan, would actively try to help as many people as he could in learning Hebrew, which, having learned Hebrew on the street in Israel, I can tell you that it's extremely difficult. I can tell you all also, speaking of Hebrew, that Lelio, for example, was so dedicated to working here that in addition to ancient Greek, he decided to learn modern Hebrew as a side project and is so good at it that he's better than most immigrants. Okay? And there's more, there's even more. Fena here, I'm told is an extremely active volunteer in the office with the time. And in addition to this, she also has a lovely singing voice, for those of you who don't know. Fantastic singer and fantastic poet. Abel is a concert pianist, which I did not know until recently, and I'm very sorry that I did not know this. Persephone here, Persephone, Aviva, all the names get mixed up. And Persephone, I know to be an extremely kind person who's dedicated to her friends. All of these traits, this sort of love of learning and the willingness to help each other, sort of get blended into each other while they're students and as they become teachers. What this essentially means is that even for those of you students who are not actively going to pursue any kind of teaching role, I think that from your time here, and from what we know about you as extremely generous people, I think that once you go back to your home countries and take up whatever job that you find, other people are going to learn from you and want to imitate you because of how good people you are and because of how much you already know and how much knowledge you will essentially spread into the world. And with that, I would again like to wish you happy graduation, Mazal Tov, and congratulations.
Thank you, Zachary, one of our engineering teachers, who has actually shown very well what is to also like from the perspective of a teacher, but also what is to be a student at Polis, and has reflected a little bit the experience of our own students. But now it's their time to speak, and for that we will have Fena, who is going to give the speech in representation of all the students. So please, welcome.
Dr. Right, this is scary. Welcome, everyone. It's a joy and honor to stand here in front of all of you. And there are moments when I will praise stubbornness as a virtue, a true stiff-necked sort of courage that I've seen in all of you. The courage to enter first Hebrew class with a vocabulary that doesn't reach much further than K, as was my case, and still to go through with it. To begin ancient Greek or Arabic, knowing even less than that. And to endure time and time again Christoph's inevitable wrath. And yet to see it through. And then to remain here, despite war, despite missiles, in a country that has been very deeply shaken up. On a day like today, let that not be underestimated. More than this also, to find that slowly the country becomes a bit less alien, homeland even. Well, language, as you all know perfectly well, is one of the most potent tools we have for precisely this reason, to feel at ease amongst people, and to teach you to face ideas that are rather a bit greater than yourself. Well, language, I hardly need to add, holds a very unique sort of power. This is a power I'm sure we've all felt the moment we could finally read a foreign alphabet, or a feeling of wonder that's evident when you're finally able to read poetry in its original language, when you're able to read parts of the Bible. Also the joy and accomplishment when at long last you strike up a conversation with a local and you're able to make yourself understood and understand. Well, of course, that is if only more people in Israel to speak of Hebrew. Who knows? You've always got more years. Well, I think that Polis has merited this for all of us so far, and I am very deeply grateful. So all my thanks, first and foremost, to everyone present here, to my classmates. Thank you for your companionship, for the joy. Thank you for creating a place that is inviting, warm, familial, and inexpressibly stimulating. Thank you also to our teachers. I cannot possibly overstate the influence that good teaching can have on a soul, on a life. Tatjana, for example, thank you for your warmth, your intellect, your sense of humor. Thank you for teaching us with so much skill and patience. And most of all, thank you for imbuing us with your own immense passion for it. And Christoph, I should say thank you for getting frustrated when you found us speaking English in the corridors. There is, after all, and you were right, no better way to learn than complete and uncompromised exposure. So thank you for your wisdom, your guidance. Eyal, also thank you for your kindness, your patience, and for your skill in teaching. I know that to me personally, the Hebrew classes have been something formative. So thank you for showing us the beauty of the language unrelentingly. So, well, there are many individuals of whom I would like to make mention, but time constrains me to properly thank each and every one of you. So now, where from here? I hope that we can carry this sort of courage forward and teach it the way we have been taught. Like Zach mentioned also, to continue a long process of learning. And in this process, to find a good place in this world to be of service. Above all, never to take for granted all that we've learned, and to never forget that education is a huge gift. We're standing in the wake of a long tradition and canon. We hold a very unique position in all of this. First and foremost, because we are free to learn and have the means to do it. So that the curiosity that has led us here in the first place gets the chance to grow and be sustained. Secondly, because we have the luxury to look back at ages of research, which is both humbling and a blessing that will continue to increase as time passes and people continue to see the relevance of scholarship. But thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, because we are social creatures, communication and, as an extension, language arises out of necessity. It's a practical consideration as much as emotionally significant. It's fun to ask people here at Polis, why did you come here to learn whatever language? The answer usually is something along the line, oh, I would like to hold conversations with locals beyond their level, or just as often as I would like to be closer to the original classical biblical languages. And that's it. This desire for proximity is something very beautiful, and something I pray we can continue to strive for, both linguistically and interpersonally. So I like to offer my congratulations to my fellow graduates. We have indeed overcome the 3-hour-long language classes and the excursions with Andy. Ilya's class on medieval linguistic philosophy. and not to forget the Hebrew verbal system. Mind you, this is not necessarily in order of workload or difficulty, or neither is it a comment on my personal enjoyment of all of this. Just, I feel I should say it. Well, all jokes aside, I would like to close by stating that education does change a person, strengthens him, and ultimately brings him to places and moments like these. I'm thrilled to see where it will bring all of you from here onwards. So, well, without further ado, congratulations, and may God's blessing and every success accompany you.
So, yes. So now for the moment that we are actually all of us waiting, I'd like to call Christoph back here. So we can actually proceed to give the students their little gifts. So we're going to be calling you one by one. And then Christoph will give you, and there will be like sometimes for pictures if anyone wants to take any picture or whatever.
I would like to call also Darius, because she is the vice dean, and she will give she can give also the mask to those who are. Yeah, and to thank also Professor Notarius for all what she's doing in the institute with the courses she's giving and the research.
So we would like to ask first Pena Capel, from graduating from the 2-year program in ancient philology.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We would also like to call Alan Quereques, also graduating from the 2-year program in ancient philology. Next, we would like to call Lelio Panzone, graduating from the Fluency in Ancient Greek. We would also like to call Aviva Louis, one of her many names, graduating from the Fluency in English.
Thank you so much.
We would like to call Jonathan Bacher, also graduating from the Fluency in Hebrew. And our last graduate person here, we are missing one who couldn't make it, but our last graduate person here, Ahmed Kagatai, graduating from the 1-year program in the Eastern languages. This was the I expected. We're big fans, don't worry. Thank you very so much.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to everyone. Now, you are all kindly invited downstairs where we will have some refreshments to celebrate with our graduates. So thank you so much to everyone. Picture time.